Howdy, howdy, howdy. What's going on out there? Uh, if you remember last night, we were talking about a possible storm chase going on tomorrow. And yes, it has been upgraded to a slight risk. Okay, so pretty much what we're going to do today, if you folks have actually covered the drone repair that I've done in the past, I've done some drone repair in the past. Show you how to break down this whole thing, clean it, and get it ready. And then lately, y'all have seen me actually put it back together and test it. And I actually set a record flight with it the other night. I took it up to a little bit over 1,300 feet. And also, we've just, like I said, my pilot's license, I've had this ship for 3 years, DJI Phantom 3. You know, I wanted to put it to work, and I still haven't gave up on it. It's still, it's took a beating, but it's still here. The first thing we're going to want to do is pull the battery pack. As you can see, we've run it. You can take these smart batteries and you can program them to discharge, say, every 15 to 30 days. You say, well, why is discharging important? Well, it's actually good for the batteries to run them low after a while. You don't want to keep them charged all the time. And it's also a good rule of thumb every now and then. I don't know if you guys know how to do this, but I think they call it deep cycling the battery. I had to do it one day. I experimented. That's when you take the drone, you charge the battery up all the way, and then you let it sit at an idle. You just let it sit at an idle and run all the way until the battery is out completely. And I tell you what, that thing can sit there at an idle for an hour or two. It is sleek. It's a nice fan. So what we're going to do is we look at the bottom. This is a laser sensor, I believe, or an optical sensor that transmits information down to the ground, and it just kind of tells you where you are relative to the ground. And this is the advanced version here. You see these two things. You say, what are these? Believe it or not, that is sonar. Hey, Michael, how you doing? That is sonar technology. That it sends sound waves, sonic waves that bounce off the ground or bounce off the subject, returns back up to the computer, and it transmits that information. You say, well, why is that important? The reason why it's important is in, like, say, for construction. You know, I took some pictures of the house getting built, and you know, you're flying up there near the ridge cap, or you're coming in. You know, you can't always just have eyes. It's good to have eyes on the drone. You know, you want to be in line of sight with the drone, but when it's sitting there and you're trying to get a good view of the thing, it's nice to know exactly where you are. The GPS unit inside is going to tell you your basic information, you know, your flight speed, your heading, your altitude, any type of information that you're going to need to know about. That comes from the GPS. But having that sonar and that little box right there is what takes the price up from like $4.99 to $7.99. And I tell you, so far, it's been worth it. It's been a drag. We've had some times it didn't deploy, but I think overall it's getting close, in my opinion, to making its comeback. Guys, don't forget, pick you up some Rhythm Vision shades and look up Mikey Boise. The guy's a pretty cool guy. Taught me a lot about business and technology, and also go pick you up a copy of my book, Facing the Storm: Unlimited Motivation. Or you can just send $10 on there, and I'll mail you a copy. Like I said, I got boxes of these things that I got to sell. I got a couple in the store. But anyway, let's get to work. Generally, when I start rebuilding these things, like I said, it's the first time I've really had to break the whole thing down after that crash. But I'll leave some of these bolts unscrewed. That's what you may be noticing now. Don't always fly with it like that. It's a cheap way to do. I usually do it because in case, since I'm on the go a lot with the weather, these things can get jostled up. Sometimes you got to have a hard landing. But this is the 4K Phantom gimbal. This is also the nice one. I felt like, believe it or not, the drone, when I bought it, it was at the cutting edge. It cost more than the family sedan. But there used to be a lens cover on here. The night I got it, or the night after I got it, I cracked it. I was flying. It's a beast. It's a great thing, and the image quality is still great. I mean, this thing's robust. I mean, it takes a beating. I'd say it's a great product. It's been so far, and it still operates. Let's take a look. This usually comes with plastic things. We don't have plastic things, and I don't know if they're called plastic things. They sit in these boots, these rubber boots, and that keeps it from shaking. So what we're going to use instead are some common zip ties, and see if these will work. I guess the first step we could do is actually test this and see. It looks like we're actually going to have to go into the drone to set this one up. This ribbon cable can plug right in here. I don't know if you can get a good view of it. We're just going to plug this one cable in, and be careful dragging it. You don't want to drag the lens. You scratch that lens. I wonder if I'm on the right one. I'm actually on the wrong one. Yeah, I think I'm on the wrong one. Now, I'm going to show you something. Not a good idea. Don't set that on there. Believe it or not, this rig, if you buy that gimbal, it's going to be a lot of money to buy. And see, there's a chase coming up. I'm going to show you a part that I recommend you pick up. I'm trying to learn about arbitrage and how to do merch. If you guys follow me eventually, hopefully, like Scott Olson, follow the rise to power. This is a stand which you can actually screw to like a piece of wood. It's really important, It may not be big enough. You see, it's not big enough. So we've got to find a way to get it in here without really jamming up the gimbal. And I mean, it takes some man hours. You'll see we're about 10 minutes in, and it's fun. I mean, it's if you're into science and bullshit like that, I mean, you'll do fine with it. Yeah. Fucking it up. Just a little bit. We're almost there. See, it's got this top plate that slides off too. If you can see it. Now that the money's in, I think we're on the third day. I don't want to get too cocky, but I think we're on the second or third day of testing. It'll be about a week before we find out before I can really make an accurate assessment of what's going on. All right, can you guys and ladies, like I said, it's really disturbing. I don't have a problem with guys, but it's a sausage factory. Our analytics show we've got 6.0 million minutes viewed, but 97.8% are viewed by males. That means less than 3%. Less than 3% of the viewers on the Terry Tyler network are females, and I need to figure out why that's happening. All right. Let's bring a little more light down here. I just don't know why. So, let's get on down here. Take a look. It's going to need to be moved more. All right. That's where I'm at. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to leave it plugged in and check that the gimbal can operate freely. When this thing turns on, it goes through its boot up process in which it operates the full range of motion for the gimbal. So you got to be aware of that. If you do that on here, you'll make a careless beginner mistake. The more man hours or woman hours, we'll just say woman hours you put in, the better you get at it. So what you're going to need is your flight pack, which we're not all the way powered up, and we're going to run 2 test experiments. Like I said, this wire, which I believe connects. It connects to the main board in here. You got to take that whole top part off to get in there. I'm wondering what this wire plugs in, just for posterity. I mean, heck, that way you people can see what it actually does. I'm a little curious about it myself. So we're going to set these. So just little facts for you guys. This is an SUAS, which means a small aerial system. A small aerial system is a package like this, aircraft. Well, the system consists of the control station, which this is technically qualified as a control station as far as the FAA is concerned. And then you've got your aircraft, which as long as it's under 55 pounds, that's qualifies that. The UAS is the unmanned aerial system. Excuse me, the unmanned aerial aircraft. Something like that. All right, take a look. We go our settings. This is an iPhone here. What you're going to want to do is you go to your Wi-Fi and you'll see it. You have to connect. This is one of the hard parts about being on the chase. And if you don't have two phones, it can get really, really dicey. You got to shut down your internet and hook up here and get the IMU booted up. It can be heavy. And when you throw a little bit of rain into the equation, and especially if you got a cracked screen like this, you got water pouring down, even if you don't have a cracked screen, and you've got water pouring down on your phone, on your device, it's the worst situation for optics. It's the worst situation. You have oftentimes blowing sand, blowing dust, rain, fog, extreme temperature increases, extreme temperature decreases. And we're going to get into some of that later. You may actually get to see when we test this equipment out today, if I decide to show y'all. We're going to connect, and we're going to see if you can see it. All right, is why we're going to fire it up. All right, I don't like the gimbal moved around too much. Now let's take a look, see. We start getting any data coming in from the aircraft, which is inside of a building. No image transition. This is the output. So I guess the next question is this. Will it film? Just because it's not picking up on there may not mean that the camera can be started manually. That's what I'm thinking, that those wires are power wires. You can control it manually. You don't need it on there. So what you're going to need to do, this thing uses a micro SD. And I'm going to give you a tip. It burned me on one chase because I didn't know. You say, what is that? Can you get a zoom in that? I'm getting a zoom in that. That is a SanDisk Micro Extreme. It may look just like a common SD card, but it's not. You see these symbols on it right here? You'll see this little downward shape. This one's got a 3 on it. This HC1, that's a class 1 chip. There's a bunch of other different kinds, but you've got to have this for 4K. And it's a lot better for higher resolution stuff. If you don't have this type of chip and you put it in there, it won't work. It may run for a minute, but it'll crash. It don't have the, I don't know if it's called bus speed, but it don't have the speed, the baud rate. That's what it's called. So you insert the chip, and I guess now what we're going to do is we're going to try to, I don't know if we'll let you take pictures of it like it is. And you can't see it. All right. You want to disconnect your battery while you're working on the aircraft, and that's no different when you're working on any kind of electronics. You know, I learned this when I did the car stereos. I'm about to take a break here, about 25 minutes in, so we're going to take a break. It ain't no different when you're working on any type of electronics. You want to remove the power source. Otherwise, you can run the risk of damaging things. Like, I don't know if you know this if you're ever working on cars. When you start working on, it's a good rule of thumb to take the battery, the hot cable off if you're doing anything. That's what they say. So it ain't no different. I'm going to try to rig some things up. I had some tags. We got to edit tags. Edit whatchamacallit. We're giving it a week trial to see if the loot's coming in, and then it's going to take, like I said, it takes hours to retool sites. Retool, you know, I've done a lot of experimenting, and like I said, with this, it's taking 25 minutes. You know, you factor in lunch, a bathroom break, which I don't like to. I generally eat one meal a day, in case anybody wonders. You know, when I start working on a project, I like to just work on it. That way, you know, Google calls it. You guys need to look up and ladies, it's called Google Tech Talks. I'll be able to start putting some of those links and putting some spiffy shit down here. Like I said, I ain't going to do a whole lot of work on it until the loot starts coming in because I've already got a lot of money invested and tied up in it. But it looks like, you know, like I said, the past 2 or 3 days, we've got 2 days on there at $1.97. You know, that's a gallon of gas. That's a gallon of gas, you know, or a 25-ounce Budweiser, any way you cut it. So I guess until we actually see a check in the mail, it's gonna take about 7 days to get some information. And I think if we can get some information looking into the next 7 days, I mean, we're already into the 18th of the month. A week, we're looking at the last week of January. So I think it'll be February, God willing, if I can pull some loot together. February should be hopefully some really interesting shit. I think that the severe weather season, the severe weather threat triples in February, particularly towards the end. So I think we're going to see a couple severe weather events I may be chasing. As you can see, it took 40 days, 40 nights to get this drone working. And we're still working on the drone tomorrow. So what we're going to do probably today is show you people, take you guys into the lab because apparently, you know, now you may earn a little loot and We're 25 minutes. I'll see y'all in a bit.